Welcome back to Check Out the Stat by your girl, Treasure Wilson, aka Stat Baby. So today we're talking about Caitlin Clark making history, and we're going to talk about just exactly what the All-Star game needs to be fixed. But first, I've got to get a shout out to our sponsor, Underdog Fantasy. With Underdog, you can earn money by making picks on your favorite players. You can try the app in California, Florida, Texas, and New York, and the list goes on. If you want to play along, go download Underdog Fantasy, use code STAT. They'll match your deposit up to $100, and you'll get a special pick. So today, our Superwoman of the Week is Caitlin Clark, and it's only right. Caitlin Clark made history by surpassing the NCAA all-time women's scoring record. She beat Kelsey Plum, a current Las Vegas Aces player and back-to-back WNBA champion. This is not an easy thing to reach, so shout out Caitlin Clark. Kelsey Plum is now second on the list, sitting at 3,527 points. Caitlin surpassed her and is at 3,569 points and counting. As you know, Caitlin definitely got some days left. She dropped 49 points in one game in a win over Michigan to beat Kelsey's record. But what's impressive about Caitlin's record is that she's on track not just to beat the women's all-time record, but possibly the men's. And I'm not even going to say possibly because she's just about there. The men's all-time record is set by Pistol Pete. He is at 3,667 total career points. She is only 100 points and some change away from sitting at the top of both leaderboards for men and women. That's pretty insane. And at the rate she's going, dropping 40 plus in a game, she can definitely beat the men's record in no time. Now, of course, people are probably wondering what Kelsey had to say about Caitlin beating the record, because you would expect sometimes people to be positive, but not all the time people are. Same way we were all waiting to see what Kareem had to say about LeBron beating his record. Well, the thing about Kelsey, which has kind of been some debate on social media, she accidentally tweeted out a congratulations before Caitlin even beat the record. Let me stop that. Some people were saying that Kelsey was being a little messy. I just think she truly forgot there's a lot of games going on at the same time. And if she wasn't specifically watching that game, at least we know that she made sure that she wanted to give Caitlin a congratulations. So she had tweeted out, "Congratulations on the record and really your entire season. I appreciate what you do for the game. Much respect and love. See you at the next level, hopefully sooner than later." And then based off of her mistake, she then said, "My bad, next game," because she thought it was the game prior, not the one that Caitlin just had. Angel Reese also gave her flowers to Caitlin Clark, which is also really dope to see in the sports world, women supporting other women. She said, "Congratulations at Caitlin Clark. Keep breaking records and making her story." You get it? Her story, history. Gotta love it. So there's no secret that Caitlin Clark is on fire and honestly great for the game. I've talked about Caitlin Clark multiple times because I want you guys to know her name. Her, Angel Reese, and a lot of other women players are definitely killing it and making their mark in women's basketball, which is dope to see, especially now that we're seeing a lot of support, not just from other women, but also men in the league. So it'll be super exciting to see what Caitlin Clark accomplishes next. Now, y'all know that NBA All-Star Weekend has come and go. I was actually at the game. I stayed in Indianapolis for the whole entire weekend, and there was a lot of hype around the games, and being there definitely was a super dope experience, but there's also a lot of things that can be fixed. So today I am joined with two of the people who actually went on the trip with me, introducing Bailey Jackson Sports and Nick Cross of the Indianapolis Colts. So today I'm joined with Bailey Jackson Sports and Nick Cross. How are you guys today?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well.
I'm good.
Okay.
No, I'm good.
Great. So as you guys know, in studio, I introduced them. We definitely, we're all with each other for All-Star Weekend in Indianapolis. So we're going to give kind of a recap of our weekend and then talk about some things that we want to see the league change. So first, for both of you guys, was this you guys' first All-Star Weekend or was it not?
Yeah, first one in the
Yeah, first one.
Okay. Just number 1 through 10. 10, yes, you would recommend, and 1 you wouldn't. Where would you rate if people should go for next year?
I mean, I give it a 10 out of 10 experience, and I feel like I'm biased just because I'm from Indy. Like being in my city was like, I feel like just a great experience overall. Then you had All Star on top of it, it made it even better. So I'm gonna say 10 out of 10.
Okay.
I would say, yeah, I would definitely say it was a time of my life. I told my agent afterwards, I said, man, I had the time of my life, from first day I touched down till, the Monday when everything was over. It was definitely one, if not the best experience of my life. Partially because, I play in Indy, so I literally live 20 minutes down the road. But then it's just, the events, the people we met, the fun I had, it was definitely a 10 out of 10 experience.
Okay, so both of you guys have high reviews. I thought it was super fun as well. But what made you guys decide to go and participate in All-Star Weekend? Like, was it already planned? A lot of people a year in advance were like, let me book my flights, my hotel. How did that process go? Did you guys coordinate together? Because people are watching, they're like, how did you guys even connect? So what happened? And like, what kind of got you guys to get out there in Indy?
Ooh, okay. Well, All Star was initially supposed to be in Indy in 2021, so it's been on my radar for the last like 3+ years. I've been playing for like 7 years now. So when I saw that it was coming to Indy, I was like, I'm gonna go. I don't care like what the situation is. Like if I'm gonna go with people, if I'm not, if I'm gonna show up by myself, if I'm gonna, work the event, or if I'm just gonna go for, pleasure, leisure. And then it just worked out. And I was like, okay, I knew Nick was gonna be there, like being, in Indy with the Colts. And I was like, I hit up you immediately, or, I think we exchanged conversation about it. So it was like, it worked out that we all came together and just like, I don't know, just, it was very organic connection in terms of like getting this group together. But yeah, initially it was just like, it was always in the back of my mind. It's like, I'm going to go to All Star no matter what.
Yeah, I would definitely say, shoot. I would definitely say that, shoot, it was in Indy, so I was like, I might as well go. I was like, I ain't got to get a hotel or anything. I live 20 minutes away from downtown, so I just go. I stay at my house, everything, whatever. So Bailey had hit me, we started talking about it a little bit. She invited me to this, the Black Excellence Brunch. And when I was like, all right, like, after that, I told my agent I was going. So shout out Samantha. She got a whole itinerary of events and everything for me. And, everything went smooth. And then, of course, I met Treasure, what was it, Friday? And, after that, like, the Three Musketeers, we went everywhere together. We went everywhere, every event. Went to every event together. And we just spent the whole weekend. It was a lot of fun and definitely built, a great bond for sure.
Three Musketeers is definitely the way to describe it because y'all, we were a unit. We went to every event together, went to the games together. So before we even talk about the games, right? I feel like there was a lot of technical things that people did not prepare for. What are some things that you felt like were kind of an issue surrounding the weekend that could be fixed?
Ooh, the snow being one of them. That cannot be fixed though. That's the tragic part about that. But the weather messed like our entire Friday up from getting to the celebrity game. I mean, Nick, you have your own story behind that one, so I'm gonna let you share that. But yeah, getting to the celebrity game to like just try to get to the events afterwards, like it was just a little bit of a mess. Like I wish that was the one thing that we could go back and like fix, but like I said, weather is just one of those things you just can't change.
Yeah, I would definitely say the weather for sure. I mean, Friday was Friday morning. I woke up and it was, it was nice little weather outside and everything. Just got a massage in the morning, and now I'm going out to go to my first event. And I see snow on the ground. And I'm like, bro, like I thought it was fake. I was like, wait, I was like, there's no chill, bro. I thought it was fake because there was no snow in the forecast or anything. Last time I checked, it said it was going to be pretty nice. So I'm like, shoot, I guess we're just going to go out here and see what it does. And, driving through the snow was pretty cool until the nighttime. We met up for dinner. I had to go take my track back to Brownsburg. And when I was driving back, it definitely messed with my plans because my car ended up in a ditch. But of course, as you see, I didn't let that stop me. I just shout out my guy, Jeremy. My guy, Jeremy, came scoop me up off the side of the road, the side of the highway. And shout out Mercedes for getting my car to the body shop. But yeah, I still had a great weekend. But yeah, Friday definitely the weather kind of blew me a little bit. But other than that, I feel like it was pretty decent for sure.
Yeah, y'all, we went through trials and tribulations, but we made sure we still were able to make it to the events. My number one thing definitely was like Ubers. Obviously, and there was just Indy was very congested just with all the people there. So it's like we got lucky and we're able to kind of find a driver, but because of the snow, things were kind of taking a while. So that's one thing I would definitely recommend looking into. No, drivers can be expensive, but like something to help you get around, even if you rent a car. But don't rent a car if you don't know how to drive in the snow. Hence Nick's story. Not saying you don't know how to drive in the snow. But I gotta put that out there. It's definitely
make sure you got them snow tires, or you gotta have them snow tires. That's it. Just have the snow tires, you can be good.
Yeah. So let's talk about the games, y'all. We were at the games and we were able to see first night the 3-point contest, and we were able to see the dunk contest. Did you guys have a favorite event? And then which one was your least favorite event?
I would say Steph and Sabrina, even though like I know we were kind of in the tunnels when a lot of that was happening, but I think the hype around that got me excited for like the entirety of the weekend. Dunk contest, I think with the nature of like who was involved in it, I wasn't as excited. It was cool to see that Jaylen Brown was going to be in it, but yeah, that one was maybe like third on my list. I think the 3-point contest is probably if I could rank them, Steph, Sabrina 3-point dunk contest for that Saturday night.
Yeah, I would definitely say Steph and Sabrina was the best event. It was most competitive, I feel. I definitely feel like they definitely put on a show out there. Having Dame go out there, win a 3-point contest, come back, win on the last shot was real cool to watch. Especially just being able to meet him the night before and everything. And yeah, definitely the dunk contest. The dunk contest was just, it doesn't have the same excitement that it usually had. Like, I don't feel like the crowd was into it as much. Some of the dunks were just, like those are things you do in a game. Like dunk contest, you want to see some actual, some tricks, some things that, no one's ever seen before. And I just feel like it wasn't, I feel like they kind of just went through the motions. Like I said, the crowd wasn't really involved. And I mean, yeah, Jaylen Brown was it, but there weren't really like a lot of big names. And again, like a G League player won the dunk contest again. So it's just one of those things where it's like, that I feel like was and then the things before, like the skills challenge and stuff like that. It just didn't have the same competitiveness that it used to back when I used to watch it when I was younger.
I agree. So the skills contest to me felt like a filler. Like, let's just throw something in there for them to do before the real events. I'm not going to lie. I was not interested in that at all. I definitely thought Steph and Sabrina was dope, especially Sabrina, shooting from the NBA line instead of the WNBA line to kind of make it more competitive. And I'm glad that she did that. I spoke about it on It Is What It Is, so people wouldn't try to minimize, her talent as a shooter. Thought that was super dope. Me and Bailey did get a glimpse in the tunnel after, which was super dope to see Steph and Sabrina up close. Dunk contest, y'all know I have been hyping up Jaime Jaquez Jr. since the beginning because I'm a Heat fan. Wasn't that impressed, but it's okay. It's all right. My thing about it though is like the dunk contest used to be that thing, right? And like you said, a G League player, Mac McClung, won it again. How are we supposed to make it lit again? How do we get people tapped in to even want to watch the dunk contest? And how do y'all feel about a G League player winning it twice?
I mean, no offense to Mac McClung. Like, he went out there, he did what he did, and, like, he got his flowers for it. He got his praise for it. So I want to start by saying that, like, no shade to Mac McClung. He's a great guy, great player. But when you have talent in the NBA, you don't need to really search outside the G League. You have Ja Morant, you have, Zion, you have, Jaylen, we saw participate, but Zach LaVine's still in the league. Like, where are these guys when, we want to see a real good show? I think money could be an incentive, but at the same time, it's like how much, because these guys are also making enough money where it's like, the all-star incentive isn't really like anything to bat an eye at. maybe it needs to be something similar to the end season tournament where you're getting, $500,000 or, maybe a little bit more. I don't know. But I think some type of monetary boost to trigger people into this more competitive, participatory, mindset is going to be a huge factor. But I think there also is some other component that's missing, and I just don't know what that quite looks like yet.
Yeah, I would say definitely just the big names. Like, when I was younger and everything, we were all younger. They used to always have the big names in there. Back in the 90s and the 80s, the best players in the league would always go out there and do the dunk contest and all those things because they wanted to give the fans a show. Like, there's still very good, dunkers in the league who, for some reason, don't compete in the dunk contest. Like Bailey said, like Zach LaVine, Ja Morant, Zion, guys who really can jump out the gym. And it's just one of those things where, everybody wants to talk about, LeBron not doing everything. But even without LeBron, there's still other high flyers out there who can legitimately put on a show at the dunk contest. And, like I said, Matt, he did his thing. He definitely goes out there, he dunks well, and he does his thing. But, for it to be an NBA dunk contest and for a G Leaguer to win it again for the second straight year, it's just, the lack of effort or concern, because I'm sure the fans want to go out there and see something like actually exciting. Like they want to see people go back and forth and do this and do that. But they're just not getting it. And, you can tell by the way the crowd was in the stadium and stuff that they just weren't into it as much as, you would expect it to be. So.
No, I definitely agree. I would love to see Ja in the dunk contest and a lot of other players. So something that we've had a lot of discussion around is like, people feel like younger players nowadays are missing that dog in them. Do y'all agree? Or do you think that they're still trying to get their footing? Like, what are they hiding the smoke? Like, what do we think is going on with these younger players? Like, why are people just like, nah, it's fine? Because it used to be like, I'm going to show out there. And like now I feel like we don't see that as much, unless you guys feel like we do see that.
No, I kind of agree with you on that. Like, and I don't know like why or like what the difference is between kind of this LeBron era or even like the kind of younger guys, the D-Book, the Cats, of the NBA. It's almost I feel like it's that Kobe mentality that's like still instilled in them. And then it's like these young guys just like never got a taste of that. And I don't know if it's like me just wanting to throw Kobe's influence across the entire league or what, or if it's really just like the impact of the greats that came before and, kind of pass into the next generation. It's like you're not seeing that being passed to the younger guys like we maybe I thought we would. But yeah, I don't know. You're right. It's just like there's something missing in terms of like the motivation, like you said, the dog in them. Like it's just there's that factor that we're not getting, and it's seen like across each team, across all the rookies. I'm not gonna say all the rookies. I don't want to group all of them into one big category, but just a lot of the younger guys is like it's missing something. And it's like, again, you go back to incentives. It's like, okay, well, what will bring that out of them? It's like, what will invoke that sense of like that pride, that motivation, that like, hey, I'm going to show up. You know what I mean? I'm going to show up and show out outside of just, regular season.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, I feel like, when we were younger, it was like a privilege to go do those things. I feel like now, I feel like with guys who opt out of this, even when it comes to the season, taking rest games and stuff like that, like, I don't know if that was a thing, even 5, maybe even 10 years back of, resting. Like guys played the 482, guys would go to the dunk contest, guys would go to the 3-point contest and compete. And even in the All-Star game, like the All-Star game was very competitive, like because nobody wanted to lose. But I feel like that, I don't know if it's a lack of competitiveness anymore or it's just, the fear of getting hurt or whatever it might be. But at the end of the day, it's just, like I said, this is the one event or the one weekend where fans get to see the best of the best. And, you want to see the best of the best compete at the highest level. Like, you want to see, the LeBrons play against the Kobe's, because, I mean, you get to see it during the season, but when you have those super teams and everything like that, like, it just builds more excitement. Or you see, guys who can dunk go out there and have full range, no stress, no pressure to go out there and do something crazy. Or 3-point shooters go out there and just knock shots down from everywhere. So it's just one of those things where, I mean, I don't know. I feel like, the younger players, I don't know if it's because, they see some of the older players not doing it, or because they don't feel the need to do it in their own right. But I don't know. I feel like it's just might be a lack of competitiveness, on that, or, just a fear of getting hurt. I'm not sure.
Yeah, those are all good points. And I wanted to specifically ask y'all, because we are like next up, right? We're going to be that next generation. So we're all part of that, group. And I feel like people think that our generation is too nonchalant. We just don't care about a lot of things, not even just in sports, just a lot of things. It's like, okay, if they want to do that, that's cool, that's fine. I think we've gotten too complicit with just that's cool, that's fine. And we need to kind of strive for more. And I don't know where that stems from or why it is that way, but I think a lot of us have just gotten comfortable with like, okay, like there's always next year, or I always have time, or like, I already got this, so like I can wait it off. Because I remember Jordan Poole said something like, I already got the chip, so I can wait and vibe, that type of thing. It's like, we need to not be okay with regular. Like, we have to strive for more. And I don't know how we change that, but we'll see what happens. So another question I have for y'all, have a couple more questions before we wrap. So we talked about like the LeBrons, like those players that we kind of idolize right now. But there's going to be a point in time, right, where they're going to eventually leave. So who do y'all think could be the next face of the league? Jayson Tatum said it was his to take. Do you guys agree, or do you guys think there's someone out there that might grab that? You don't even have to name one. You can name a couple players that you feel like can have
some like wow factor.
But I think if Ja can get himself together, I think Ja is really could be the best player in the league. Him, oh no, Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards is a dog. Ja Morant. I think I can throw, huh?
Shea, SGA.
Yeah, like guys like that. I think you can still put Jayson Tatum in that category, but I really feel like if Ja can get himself together off the court and get healthy and get back to the Ja that we saw when he was a rookie and, in his second year and stuff like that, he can really be the face of the league. His explosiveness, just the way he can get to the basket, his ability to score buckets at any time, same with Anthony Edwards. Like, Anthony Edwards out there doing, some crazy things out there. And, not to mention, I mean, if y'all be on TikTok, they do kind of say he look a little bit like Jordan. I'm not going to think that's Jordan's long lost son, but that's neither here nor there. But at the end of the day, he be out there just balling. Like, he, can score from anywhere. He plays defense. So, Jayson Tatum, he's good for sure. Definitely can be the face of the league, but when you think like up and coming face of the league, it's definitely for me either Anthony Edwards or Ja Morant for sure.
Yeah, and I guess age wise, like you said, Nick, it's like face of the league. It's like I'm thinking guys that are just slightly younger than Jayson, and I kind of forget that Jason's like 25, 26. Like I think he's around that age. Like he's not been in the league too terribly long, but at the same time, like he's been in the league long enough where I'm like, if you feel like you should be the face of the league once, the greats that are, playing right now retire, then I feel like you should be more in your prime, or at least like at a maybe more developed stage in your career, if that makes sense. That's at least how I like processing Jason's stardom. And I feel like he's kind of past the point now where it's like, oh yeah, you're going to be the face of the league next. I'm looking, like you said, we're shifting the conversation to Ant, to Ja, to Shea, to, potentially Wemby. I mean, we've been talking about Wemby all up until this season and how he's this, like alien, he's more than the unicorn. He's this alien. You've never seen anything like him before. We're shifting the conversation to guys like that. So it's like, I'm not focusing so much on, Jayson Tatum is going to be that next guy, just because I feel like just simply because he had his moment to establish himself as that, and that time's passed, and there's this.
But how much do you think that has to do with the fact that like it's kind of tough for him though? Because I mean, LeBron's still in the league, Kyrie, Luka, like guys, Giannis, like there's still some older guys, KD, like guys who are still in the league who he's not gonna pass those guys up. So it's like it's kind of hard for him to get out and like Ja, Anthony Edwards, they're young enough, so it's like okay, KD and them will retire in the next 5 years or something like that. Like they're young enough so that when they do retire and when they're towards the very last stretch of their career, that they'll be on the up and coming. Like Jayson Tatum kind of came in a weird place where it's just like he's tough, like he does his thing. I mean, they went to the finals and stuff like that, but he just has too many greats who are right. Like he's came in right after that are just, still running and still doing, like LeBron is still doing his thing. KD is still doing his thing. Luka, Kyrie, Giannis, they're all still doing their thing. Like Kawhi, Paul George. So it's like you still have all those big name guys who are in there. And then there's him, there's a Jaylen Brown and stuff like that. And then there's the younger crop of stars, the Wembys, the Anthony Edwards and stuff like that. So he's just kind of in a weird, unfortunately, he's kind of in a weird spot where it's just like, he can't really take the league by storm because he's been in it for a minute now. But he can still be a very good, very influential player.
Right. I think he's forever going to be influential. But the thing about Jayson Tatum, the word soft is not the correct term, but he just gives really nice. Like, I need him to be like, I need him to give something that shows like, this is your league. And I feel like I have not got that from Jayson Tatum. And honestly, when I look at like other players, like Ja would be perfect and Ant-Man. But when I also think about it, I'm like, dang, is social media, messing us up to where, these players have to be super, super cautious. Like they can't live life a little bit, like things got to happen and have a super clean slate. Like, do you think that's messed them up in the long run? And then before you guys answer that, I also think kind of like Luka is still mad young. We've seen a lot from him, but it's like, can he have the power to take over the league like that? Like, that's just something I never really thought about because we've just always seen LeBron. But it's about that time to start looking at that next. And Jayson Tatum, once he gives me a little bit more, that's when I feel like then I can see him. But it's getting too nice. That's kind of what I feel like.
I mean, Steph ain't really one of those guys who like rah type
and
of guys.
And that's also kind of why LeBron takes over. Like we're forever going to be grateful of Steph, and Steph is always going to have that power. But also, you cannot even compare Jayson Tatum to Steph. So it's like,
you can't do that for sure.
Like Steph, that's a different story. I think Steph can get away with it because he's Steph Curry. Like he's proven a lot to us already.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That's like another.
Steph proves himself in a way that just Jayson hasn't, and Jayson's skill set isn't what Steph's skill set is to prove himself in that way. To like you said, the comparison's just not there. I feel like to put the two and two together. And in terms of like what you said about him being soft, is like, yeah, there's a lack of aggressiveness there that I think would take him to that next level. But I mean, if he wants to be that guy, he also has to be that guy. You know what I mean? Like he's got to make those changes to prove himself, and we just haven't seen that yet.
Yeah, definitely. And then my follow-up question was, do you think social media might be messing it up for younger players?
I mean, in the case of Ja, I think that's the best example we've seen so far as to like the impact on his career. Yes and no. I think it's about one, just kind of being smart and just being cautious about what you're doing. It's like I feel like we are in a generation where, as we grew up with social media, we all were kind of taught it's like you have a digital footprint, be careful about what you post. So I would assume like the same applies to him. Those were things that were probably reiterated to him as he grew up. So it's just stuff like that where it's like, okay, you have this platform, be smart about it, know what you should and shouldn't do. And like, it really should be as simple as that in my mind. And I hope with the, 2 incidents he's had now or more, 3 incidences, it won't, like, that's enough for him to learn his lesson and, move on, and we don't have to see anything. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, social media is such a powerful tool. I feel like it could positively or negatively affect, a player in the trajectory of their career. But I think Ja's a smart guy. I think he's at this point learned from his mistakes, and that he'll kind of take that learning lesson and move forward and make it a positive. But I don't know, it can go either way, honestly.
Yeah, I feel like social media can, like Bailey said, do a little of both. Just depends on what you use it for. Like in Ja's instance, it's gotten him into some trouble. For other guys, it might help them. It might, help to sit there and get them the notoriety or whatever they need. But it's really just how you use it. You can use it for good or you use it for bad. It just depends on what you want to do with it. And moving forward, like I feel like, people should just use it in order to try to help themselves instead of just doing, dumb stuff. Like, just got to watch what you post, watch what you do, and you'll be A-okay.
Yeah.
Sounds like good advice to me. And then before we wrap, is there anything that we can see coming from you guys soon? Anything that you guys are working on? Any projects, any personal things that you are willing to share?
Nick Cross is going to the Super Bowl this year.
Hey, look, we just got to take it one day at a time. One day at a time. Just take it one day at a time. Go work, start with workouts, getting back in shape, going the OTAs and, bonding with the team, meshing with them. I do think we said that we were going to be next year, the Bay 2025. We're going to be back out there for sure. So definitely just, of course, football season is going to be upon us shortly. So I do expect both of y'all to be at games this year. I expect to be the Colts to be a heavy topic on It Is What It Is. And at the end of the day, just, this is a nice little group we got here. I call it 3 Musketeers. We come up with something different, you know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, it's been good. Just, just starting to refocus, get the mind right, get the body right so I can go out there and perform. Go get this golf swing right so that when Bailey comes back to Indy, you know what I'm saying, I can go out there and I can win this time. You feel me? But other than that, just making sure, I think, might take a couple of trips. Her summer league was up in the talks, you know what I'm saying? But, definitely got to get that golf swing right because, Bailey, I'm going to beat you.
So Nick's goals are a little ambitious. Aside from the football side of things, I'll give you all the creds for the football stuff. But yeah, when it comes to golf, don't ever disrespect me like that again. But in terms of what I've got going on, content as usual, continuing to grow, continue to elevate on social media. My platform, Bailey Jackson Sports. Hopefully you'll be seeing me in a hosting role fairly soon. I've got some stuff in the works with a really special company, so I'm excited about that. But yeah. So that's what's in store for me. So just stay tuned.
Okay. And then my last question is always,
wait, you ain't even talk about you.
Oh,
yeah, thanks.
There's a lot of stuff coming up that I cannot speak about, but y'all must stay.
Wow, that's great.
Well, check out the Snap for more updates and stay tuned on my Instagram. I always close my interviews with, because like my show is all about women empowerment. Is there any women out there that you guys look up to that you feel like is killing it in the industry that you would like to give a shout out to?
Okay, so I'm going to say this before Nick is going to say this, but I want to give you your flowers. I literally went on a podcast yesterday and someone asked me the same question. And I said your name. I was like, Treasure Wilson, she's one of my friends. I haven't known her for super long, but I'm like, she inspires me. She just got out of school. Like, she's doing big things. The exposure is going crazy. Like, the show is going crazy. And I really do, like, truly look up to you. I'm like, you are who I want to be. Like, you are who I want to be in, like, the next, like, very, very soon, 6 months to a year. I'm hoping to be, big time like you. So for real, want to take a moment and like give you your flowers because you are a true inspiration.
Oh, I appreciate you, Bailey. And y'all need to check out her content because she be killing it. That's literally how we met each other, because we were both making content on TikTok follow each other, have stayed connected. And that's how the industry works. But I appreciate you. And I love all of your work too, girl. We like this.
Start venture cut.
Make your turn.
Nah, I feel like this weekend really opened my eyes. Definitely being around a lot of, influential people, especially influential women in sports. I just met Treasure on Friday, but we definitely feel like we know each other for forever. Like the conversation, everything's been good. We've enjoyed the time. I want to shout Treasure out for sure because, for her to do her own podcast, for her to do It Is What It Is, to just be, so young, we both 22, and for us to be out there and doing our thing and her to be doing her thing. And, it was amazing to see people come up and be like, yo, like, I like the podcast or Stat Baby. I didn't know who Stat Baby was. I was just like, who is Stat? I was like, who is Stat Baby? I was like, you mean Treasure? I said, that's Treasure. I said, that ain't no Stat. I said, that's Treasure. But definitely shout out Treasure. Shout out Bailey. I've known Bailey for about a year or so now, and she's definitely been doing her thing. She's been to Cots training camp. I've seen her, continue to grow in her role, and definitely excited for the both of them. It was definitely fun to be around, and it was amazing to watch them work in the space. At the Excellence Brunch, Bailey challenged me to introduce myself to 5 people, and so that's definitely what gave me, got me out of my shell and everything. So it's definitely good to be around these two for the past 3-4 days and to be able to learn from them and see how they work in their industry for sure. So shout out both of y'all.
Oh, thanks,
And
Nick.
cheers to many more weekends. Okay, so before we go, what's you guys' social medias? Where can people follow you and tap in with your journey?
At Bailey Jackson Sports, BaileyJackson, on Instagram, TikTok, Threads, and then my Twitter is Bailey J Sports.
You can follow your boy on Instagram at Nick Cross. It's that simple, Nick Cross. Twitter is, I think, the same. My Twitter is the same thing, but I really just be on Instagram. You can follow my spam page too, 3_ and out. And that's where I just post all my regular photos and stuff. But definitely follow me on the gram at Nick Cross and on Twitter at Nick Cross as well. And you can follow my journey there.
So make sure you guys watching follow the both of them. Thank you both for being here. I really appreciate both of you. It was an amazing weekend. Like I said, again, cheers to many more. I hope this interview was insightful for you guys watching. I'll see y'all next time, and then I'll see y'all back in the studio.
Well, that's it for today's episode. Y'all can #check out the stat so we can continue the discussion next week, and maybe your question or take will be featured. I also definitely want you guys to drop down in the comments what you think All-Star Weekend should change, because I think the more people that speak up, the more changes that we'll actually be able to see. So it'll be exciting for years to come. But thanks for hanging out with me and checking out the stats. I'll see y'all next week.
Two big necks, like when they doing them 2 for $5.